on the bonus round, we're looking at superhero games. Marvel dominates at the box office, but can't seem to land a kick-ass game. What is it about superhero games that make it so difficult for them to find success? Find out on the bonus round. Hey guys, we are back here in the bonus round for week 2 with our panel, and this week it is all about superhero games. We talked a little bit about Batman last week, but recently there was the news that Marvel is finally getting back into, real or Telltale games. I guess you could debate, it's like what Telltale means. Is a certain brand of game, but they do an amazing job on the types of games that they deliver. But superheroes are, it's like there's so many movies coming out, and over the next 5 years, Marvel and DC I think have sometimes 2 or 3 movies a year coming out from all the studios. And superhero games, they've always been done. Batman I think is going to be phenomenal from Rocksteady based on their pedigree. But yeah, like Marvel, you see all these, Avengers too. No big Avengers game coming out. Let's start with you, Matt. Is this something that do you think should there be more superhero games?
There should be. However, the obvious thing is a lot of them get rushed out in order to hit with the timing of movies, and so you'll see when video game movies or superhero video games come out, the good ones often are not next to it. Like the Wolverine one was spectacular because it had not it was not tied into that time frame for the game. So I think as long as they're not attached to a movie and having marketing people dictate when the production schedule for a game is supposed to be.
I think people are wary now, even the Mad Max game, which looks pretty good, but it's the movie looks amazing, and but the game is not coming out until September. So it's I think they almost are purposely moving it away from the movie, because if it just came out, I'd be it can't be any good.
I still am super skeptical. That trailer did look a lot better. The one that just came out looked a lot better, but I'm still definitely knee-jerk reaction, very skeptical. Still can't be good.
But the movie looks insane.
The movie looks amazing. The movie looks fantastic.
So Flitz, you're a big comic book guy.
Huge.
So do you miss your heroes and villains in video games?
They never really disappeared. Wow. They just kind of went mobile.
Marvel heroes.
I am excited to see what they come back with. It's interesting, the whole Telltale Marvel thing. It makes perfect sense, as Telltale loves books.
Yeah.
And Marvel is just a giant catalog of books. So if they can literally, instead of taking from the movie and embrace the book aspect, you can have issue after issue of game. One of the ideas, if they're not going to do that, is in my head is, well, do you experience it from a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent's point of view, where it's maybe they stick to the mystery thing, or are they going to take the narrative of the world, of a character's world, and you explore it as different characters or as
and at what point, I'd be interested to see with Telltale, on their roadmap, at what point do they get more into real action and things like that?
It's going to be the same engine.
I don't know. But they said the Marvel thing's not until 2017. I would think by then they're going to have to push, because they have so many amazing properties, but at some point I think
they have to evolve.
Right, and and still keep that as the core, but it's have some actiony stuff. Even the King's Quest game that they're remaking, I think they tried deliberately to add more action moments into it.
I wonder if it also has a lot to do with, they release it on every platform. If you have an electronic thing, you can play The Walking Dead. I'm playing on my microwave.
Apple Watch.
Yeah, exactly. So I wonder how much of that, if eventually if they want to advance the engine, that they have to kind of either decide to sort of pick a thing.
That's a good point.
Or just kind of maybe come up with some awesome innovation for touch screens. I don't know. I'm not a game designer.
But Jesse is a Marvel Telltale game. Does that get you excited?
I think it does. I think the thing about Marvel, especially the Avengers, for example, the way they've set up the movies, the way they've set up that universe, is it's much more about camaraderie and the interaction between the characters than it is about fighting some super villain somewhere. And I think that lends itself much better to a Telltale game.
Sim.
Yeah. Oh, a dating. Look, you give a Marvel dating sim to the fans, people would go nuts. You're a lonely S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. Yeah, you have to watch over Captain America. Ooh, what's gonna happen?
Hanging out with Bruce Banner, don't make him angry, right?
Or maybe you kind of want to make him angry. You like it like that. Okay?
That's one of the many endings. It does not go well. But I also think that later on, as we get more towards the Infinity stuff, I think that lends itself much more to an action game. Like the events, like if you're a kid of the 90s, you remember that being like, oh, this is the coolest thing ever. And I think that would lend itself more to like a crazy action brawler style game.
I hope they bring. Ever since the whole Capcom thing is dark and no one knows what's happening with the Marvel vs. Capcom series, it's like I love playing fighting games as my Marvel superheroes. So is there something there? Telltale's not going to do it.
Well, that's a great point. You're right. You look at like Mortal Kombat, how big that's been, and it's like just straight up Marvel. I mean, EA, I think back in the day was doing a Marvel fighting game that got canceled. It never actually came out. Out of EA Chicago. But it's like, that's a great point. It's like you could do an amazing just fighting game, and it's it's not going to be GTA with Marvel, but it's like if you could pick a specific genre. Marvel racing game. Marvel racing game.
Roman go-karts.
You're in the spider car.
Exactly. Come on.
Why?
But I guess like a game like Batman or a character like Batman, I mean, Rogues Gallery, like all the things there fit so well with the game, and you can have different levels based on the themes. I mean, it's very simple. I don't know that like current and like what most young people are focused on when it comes to Marvel right now.
That's a good. I hadn't even thought of that because I've been reading it too long. I don't think about what they think about.
No, you're right, but all these, and Superman's they've always had problems making like a good Superman game.
Yeah.
It's because you don't really have the enemy to fight.
Cool. Yeah, right. Exactly, but it's just you're right. It's hard to like Batman works well, but out of all the other characters, and there've been Captain America games and Iron Man games and things like that, and none of those are really delivered. I would think there's something cool with Avengers just because you have so many characters there. Suicide Squad, maybe.
That old arcade game.
Why don't
Avengers
they make
game?
Oh
Bring
man,
that back.
be it
That
an
was the
Avengers
best.
or X-Men.
America,
game.
still need your help.
Right, but it's like those exactly just different genres, and that's why it could be done on mobile. But there are some cool mobile games.
Yeah, I mean they have their little fighting pokey mobile game. I love fighting games. I love comic books. Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Ultimate 97 XYZ. Right. Capcom. It was a great experience for me, and if I had any dread with Marvel taking the rights back, is I just hope they see the value in being able to play as those heroes as fighting game characters, because you're playing with their powers. I can't fly. I can't shoot laser beams out of my arms, but against my friends.
And the challenge, I think there were so many bad Marvel games that they just stopped, right? And that's what was cool about the Telltale announcement, because like it's been years since a big mainline Marvel game has come out, and Marvel's like all over TV, Netflix, movies, and it feels like games. You're right. There's some mobile stuff happening, but like big console games. Talked before about like Battlefront. You want more story. It's like the stories that Marvel could tell. Yeah, the incredible. I think they've just been burned by so many like mediocre Captain America or Thor games.
Which
that it's like
both were based off of Batman.
It didn't work.
It didn't work.
What about Guardians of the Galaxy, the game?
Is that coming out?
No.
Oh. You got excited.
Announcement right here. We have the reveal trailer for you right now.
I almost feel like that would be a better Telltale game.
Right.
A Guardians game would be because
Howard did that.
Maybe that's what they're doing.
You could really.
How would you even do it? Because you have to have space
Mass
stuff.
Effect.
Maybe. I mean, that's what it would have to be. Mass Effect. Yes.
I could see.
Yeah.
That's what it would have to. It would have to be Mass Effect.
Who knows? I mean, that's what it'd be interesting to see what Telltale does, because Marvel is, as you said, great story, but it's also known for so much action in their movies. But Game of Thrones seems to have worked for Telltale on that sort of a different angle of it. So maybe Marvel will have like a great story game, great action game, great fighting game,
and then they're back on top.
I hope they just work with
Marvel versus DC.
Finally, by NetherRealms. Thank you.
You never know. That's one of the things you would never think would happen, but then you look at like the Lego games, and like Lego's owned by Warner Brothers, and they do like Marvel stuff.
And then Marvel
also
teaming
DC.
up with Fox to get Spider-Man back.
Exactly.
It is an era of let's
Marvel
fornicate
versus
the media
DC
together.
game built by like NetherRealms would be insane.
Oh my gosh, bonkers!
It's almost like
Never
they
will
realize not doing that would cost them money. Like they make more money by working together than fighting each other. They're like, well, screw it, let's do this thing. Good for all of us.
That would
And
be
then
amazing,
it'll
right?
pave the way
Yeah.
for Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter.
Eventually, right?
Come on, guys, let's dream.
Yeah.
Well, they had because they had Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and then Tekken Cross Street Fighter has never come out, right?
Not yet.
Not yet.
They're working on it.
All right.
They've hyped that thing up for a
Yeah,
while.
I know.
That was like 3 years ago at Comic-Con they announced it or something. But yeah, I agree with you with fighting games, and MK seems to have done really well. People love it. So that's a natural fit.
And they learn so much from I've said this a lot, but they've learned so much from Injustice.
Right.
And then in them growing from that and incorporating all the new features, Mortal MKX is a masterpiece, basically. A fighting game masterpiece.
Okay.
To have this amazing fighting game that could really just be a fighting game as fighting games do, but on the same side, you have this amazing narrative with the combat kids introducing the new generation while
with the
This man is
combat kids, we got it.
And paving the way with a pass to the future. It shows that you can have a game that has an amazing narrative that people can care about and introduces the world that makes it deeper, so that when you're playing against just your friends, you're relating to the characters and their personalities. There's something there, and that opens the doors for like Marvel fighting games and stuff like that, where you can. It's a great system. I applaud NetherRealms for that system. A lot of people don't even think about it because they're like, oh, but quick time stuff. I'm like, but you're playing a story.
Yep.
In a fighting game. It sucks that you have to play as the character you don't have to play as, but guess what? They figured that out, and you can skip the fights.
No.
Gold.
And the fact that they can, fighting games in that genre, and, Ed Boon's been making MK games for so many years.
Yeah.
I remember the first E3 in 1995, he was there talking about Mortal Kombat. And here it is, like, 20 years later.
Yeah, that's
and
crazy.
it's still, like, they're still pushing the limit and getting great reviews, and people are loving it.
And I was in arcades in 1995. Like, my grandma didn't know I shouldn't be playing a game in arcade, but I had $5, and that's how I learned that it was 20 quarters, and I put my quarter up, and I spent every last single one on just arcade machines, and Mortal Kombat just ate for days. Ugh.
MKX, masterpiece. Guys, we'll be back in the bonus round next week with more with these guys.